And good morning. It's time for another installment of Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions with Sean Robertson of Gateville Law Firm. They are located in Yorkville and online at gatevillelawfirm.com. And Sean joins us in studio once again. Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing today, Mike?
Doing well. Our topic today is kind of an overview on just the main benefits of creating a living trust for estate planning. I think we've touched on this before, and it's always a good topic to revisit because this is kind of one of the main thrusts of what you guys do, helping set up living trusts and just going over the reasons why it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I think the first thing, Mike, is avoiding probate. So, like, for example, yesterday I had a matter that was supposed to close that was in probate court, and it started in probate court prior to COVID, which was in 2019. And the only asset in probate court is a piece of property that was an investment property. So the challenge is, and now $7,000 later, I just recently took it over for another attorney because the client was not happy, i.e. because it took 5+ years.
Yeah.
So with probate, you have challenges where the challenge in this case was the judge wanted the mortgage paid off because the mortgage was in the husband's name that deceased. So, and with probate court, you've got to pay off debts. So the only way to pay off a debt is to sell the property. And the client was adamant they didn't want to sell the property but didn't have a choice. So that's one of the downsides to probate.
Okay. And probate, court-supervised process of distributing a person's assets after death. All right, so there's other benefits too, privacy being one of them, right?
Yeah, privacy is one. Like, for example, when you file a will at the local courthouse, it's public information. So, like, I hear stories a lot from people that have deceased where they get a ton of mail because their name is public record. So a will must be filed at the courthouse, and you have no privacy rights.
We've talked a lot about how important this is because there's more of a black and white issue when someone passes away. There's a little more, defined terms you can have. But what about if someone is dealing with the incapacity? That's a whole gray area there, right?
Yeah, that's a whole gray area. And I actually have a client now that's in probate where her husband, they're from another state. So they own a piece of property here in Kendall County, and we had to open up a probate estate for the husband, and now the wife is almost dying. And one of the big issues is, obviously, it could be a second probate. And number two, incapacity. Incapacity, memory care issues are the big issue that people aren't talking about.
Yeah, and the living trust can help put some of the things on paper and make it a little bit easier to deal with as you're moving along there.
Yeah, so this is how the living trust, Mike, helps people is if the asset such as real estate is owned by the trust and somebody becomes incapacitated or dies, there's a smooth transition. So that's why a living trust is kind of what people think a will is. A will has to be ratified by a judge, and a lot of times what I find is people don't want the delay, and number two, they don't want to pay the costs and attorney fees involved with probate and a will.
The one nice thing, too, with setting up these living trusts, you get your assets a little faster, huh?
Correct. You get them a lot faster. So, for example, let's say you wanted to sell a piece of property, your parent passes, it was in a trust. Essentially, there's no delay other than how long it takes for you to want to sell the property, where with the will and probate, that's not the case.
And it just overall gives you more flexibility in management.
Correct, because the way a trust works is your bank accounts, your life insurance proceeds, your retirement proceeds, your trust should be the beneficiary. So if your trust is the beneficiary, you have a smooth transition. So if somebody dies, you don't need to necessarily update the beneficiary designation. And the trust deals with a lot of things. So let's say somebody is going through a nursing home. You don't want your hard-earned money going to a nursing home.
Yeah, and speaking of money, too, obviously, if you're avoiding probate, you're going to cut down on the legal fees.
Correct. You're going to cut down a lot, correct. And not only that, but there may be some creditor issues such as, maybe somebody's leasing a car or they have some credit card debts that you may cut off as well.
Well, it's a really nice tool for families if you want to simplify the process of passing on assets, and that's where the folks at Gateville Law Firm can come in, and they'll take care of all of these things for you. It can be a complicated endeavor to try to go through all this stuff, but Gateville Law Firm, Sean Robertson, they're there to help. They're located in Yorkville. They're online at gatevillelawfirm.com. 630-780-1034 is the number. Talk to Sean or anyone that works at Gateville Law Firm, and they'll help get you started. And we hope you can join us at the same time next week for another edition of Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions.